Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Rumors podcast, episode, 12 now? Time is flying by, but here we've got me, Tanner Pfeiffer, host of NFL Rumors podcast, and also the official NFL Rumors Twitter account. Almost 200,000 followers on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to be with you again this morning. We got a lot of things to talk about. I'm excited about everything going on. Excited about the playoffs getting ready to happen, and we're getting ready to get in our busy season. Like all the rumors floating around with everything. So it's going to be a pretty exciting time.
Oh yeah, playoffs coming up, wild card weekend, and a lot of rumors right now too. Just like rumors and then news as well. Just you got Tua out. You got that developing things with Derek Carr. It's just so many things. And what would you like to touch base on first today?
Yeah, I guess we'll start off and we'll talk about the coaching news because that's one of the biggest things right now. Is we're seeing all the coaching visits.
Oh yeah, true.
And things like that. And of course, we're going to kick it off. And this is something that me and you talked about for a while, Tanner, is Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. Yeah. And you called it. I think last episode, we talked about Sean Payton. And what did we talk about? It was Sean Payton to the Chargers that made a lot of sense. And also, maybe did we discuss that the Cardinals may have interest? And I think we also talked about the fact that the Cardinals were going to fire Cliff Kingsbury. And of course, like 2 days later, they did.
Oh yeah. That was pretty interesting how that developed. Yeah, we talked about how that was going to happen. One of the biggest things that we touched on, and we'll start there with the Cardinals, is they got permission to talk to Sean Payton, which that was one of the teams that he mentioned as he would like to go to because he is a big fan of Kyler Murray. So, I think that's a real interesting situation to keep watching.
Yeah, I saw that. He is interested in Kyler Murray. He says that wait 1 second. 1 second. I think we're having little audio difficulties here. Let me make sure. I wanted to make sure that everything was being recorded properly at the moment. Sorry. But yeah, we did talk about Kyler Murray, Sean Payton, and yeah, I saw, was it a podcast that he was on, or was it the Pat McAfee show? What did he say that on?
Yeah, I think it was a podcast that he was on, and he mentioned the things that he liked about Kyler Murray. He mentioned the things that he thought he could develop with Kyler. So I think that is pretty big in my opinion, and
I definitely think so as well.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals, as of now, things could change. I mean, things can change on a whim when you're in the off season, but right now I would say the Cardinals are one of the favorites, probably to land it. Now the Broncos are going to meet with Sean Payton on Tuesday, and that's going to be in Los Angeles. And one of the things that we've really not mentioned that we got late last night was Sean Payton said it had to be the right team, and there's still a 70% chance he might go back to Fox. So you never can tell if that's what it is, but you're talking about the Broncos. I mean, he's got Russell Wilson. I believe that the Broncos want him more than he wants them for the Broncos.
Of course, I think so as well. I mean, if you're Sean Payton, do you want to go to a team where your quarterback just had the worst season of his career? You fired your head coach after less than a season. You do have a great defense, obviously, but I just don't. I mean, obviously, the Broncos are in a position they want him way more than he wants them. He's got options right now. Sean Payton's the kind of coach with the kind of track record. He could coach anywhere he wants. I could see there would be teams that would fire their current head coaches for Sean Payton easily.
Right. And let's talk about one of those, right?
Let's go. Let's do it.
The Chargers.
The
right?
Chargers.
So here's the situation with the Chargers, and we tweeted that out last week. So he played his starters there, the Chargers head coach Brandon Staley, and he really didn't have to, right? Because they had nothing to win, right? They had nothing to win. And then Mike Williams got hurt, and he's trending to miss the game right now. Like, he's trending to miss the game. They're saying a game time decision, but some people I've talked to said that, he's expected to miss. I've talked to others who said that he's going to play, right? So that is, but when you're looking at that, like, he's still, even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%, right? I mean, even if he plays, like, if he takes maybe a tough hit to the back or anything like that, I mean, you're talking about, that's going to be tough on him, and I mean, they're not going to have him at 100%. I've heard a lot of people have told me, and, it's still, I think that's up in the air and all that, but I've seen a lot of people, Tanner, that say that if he loses this game against the Jaguars, that Sean Payton's in play for the Chargers.
That's what I said this. I don't remember if I tweeted it or if I commented on something on Instagram, and I got a lot of heat for it. But I said, playoffs or no playoffs, this should be Staley's last season with the Chargers. There's too much good things in place. That roster's too good to keep losing and underachieving. I think Herbert has the potential to be even better, and a guy like Sean Payton could literally just soar his potential. Like, I mean, it's insane. And the type of recruiting that Payton could do there with the Chargers, he could just make it even more elite. I just, like I said, playoffs or no playoffs, the only thing that's going to keep Staley's job, or should at least keep Staley's job safe, is a Super Bowl win. Anything less than a Super Bowl win, Staley should be gone.
I think the Chargers most definitely, man, will be in play. Well, right now you got the Cardinals, you got the Broncos. Listen, and here's another thing about the Broncos, and we'll move on for Sean Payton. Is the Broncos? He has told people he wants Vic Fangio to be his DC. Vic Fangio is not going to the Broncos, not at all.
I've been reading otherwise. They're saying, like, if Payton and the Broncos are on the same page, but if Vic Fangio's already spent time there.
Yeah. So I think Dan Quinn will be their head coach.
And which would be another huge L by the Broncos. Dan Quinn has already proven he's not a head coach. He's doing just fine as a defensive coordinator. He doesn't need to be a head coach.
Well, Dan Quinn, I'm going to tell you, like, when you look at it, this is why I think that he'll be there with the Broncos. And is, number one, Dan Quinn knows Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson still is big. They're going to talk to Russell Wilson about the head coach, right? I think Dan Quinn, when you look at it, he knows Russell Wilson. He was there in Seattle when Russell Wilson was there. And not only that, they got one of Randy Gregory from the Cowboys that's got input.
Yeah.
He that was there with Dan Quinn as well. They're really close with the Marcus. Let me see, the Marcus Ware, and he's a big Dan Quinn advocate. One of the other things that you want to watch about the Broncos, just real quick, is the fact that they went and talked to 2 Stanford people. What does that mean? That means John Elway has major input, right? John Elway played college at Stanford. He knows Jim Harbaugh real well. They interviewed him virtually. And then they interviewed David Shaw. In my opinion, I mentioned this weeks ago, if you remember. David Shaw, in my opinion, is high up on the ranks to be a good coach.
I just feel like they shouldn't take a risk on a first-time NFL head coach or someone who doesn't have a good track record in the NFL as a head coach. They need someone who's a proven winner. And the Broncos go, I don't know. I just feel like they make silly decisions. They need to do something that offensively boosts their team.
I'm with you. Dan Quinn, like their defense with Everjoe was great, like one of the best defenses in the NFL, right? Like they were good. Like Dan Quinn, is he going to make it better? Maybe, right? Maybe make this defense a little better, right? I'm not saying he wouldn't. He probably would, right? But he can't get too much better, is what I'm saying. And Dan Quinn's not an offensive guy, right? So he would have to go and hire somebody that was a proven offensive coach. Example, I'll throw this out there: the guy that just got the Jets just parted ways with LaFleur, right? He's got Dan Quinn's really close with Kyle Shanahan. He could probably talk to Mike LaFleur, and I would think that Mike LaFleur is a big candidate to be a Broncos OC if Dan Quinn gets the job.
I get that. I do.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our next topic. And we could kind of go back here to talking about the Cardinals and wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Yes. And the fact that he posted on Instagram that he's basically saying farewell. And there's just a lot going on there with DHop. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that pretty much before anybody did, right? That it came out.
Yeah.
And we talked about him being an option because they was going to unload contracts. And DeAndre Hopkins is a big name that we think that will be moved, right? So DeAndre Hopkins, some of the names that I have heard of teams of being interested are the Tennessee Titans, the latest one, right? Because one of the biggest things is Mike Vrabel's going to really push for him because they were together with Houston, and he seen what he could do with Houston, and he was right there on the staff. So that's going to be a big thing there. And one of the biggest things is the Browns, right? Browns are another team. I'm sure Deshaun Watson will lobby for DHop because, he was there with him there. So, there's a team. Chicago Bears got plenty of cap space. They wouldn't have to worry about, DHop being paid. They could put him with Justin Fields and give him a number one.
Dude, he would be a number one for sure. But, you don't go to the Bears. Like, that's where your career ends. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I would believe that DHop wants to play for a winner. I think the wild card team in this, and we've really not mentioned this yet, so kind of breaking news, right? Not mentioned this yet, is the Chiefs. Right.
Really?
I think that's the wild card in this, right? Because Patrick Mahomes, if they move him and the Chiefs could pay him good, like you're talking about going to Patrick Mahomes, they really don't have a clear number one. Yes, Patrick Mahomes done better without a number one this year, right? But, adding DeAndre Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes with the big arm, it'd be like a classic matchup.
Yeah, but he spreads the ball around so much. D-Hop seems like the kind of guy, he wants to be a number one. But he also wants to win. I think he wants the cake and wants to eat it too, to be honest.
I really love DHop. I think he's a great player. I think he was just going to add big time. I've had a lot of people ask me about the Packers and DHop. I only think that Packers is an option if Aaron Rodgers stays.
Oh, 100%. If Aaron Rodgers stays, they're an option. He would be a true wide receiver one there. And they're always a competing team, a competitive team, but that's only if Aaron Rodgers is there.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be there. I really don't. I'm going to move to him just really quick. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers, just the way Aaron Rodgers left that field last week, right?
I saw that, him and Randall Cobb.
Yep. Not only that, Aaron's a pretty good guy about giving his jersey up and signing it and stuff. And Jameson Williams went through and said, "Hey, can we do a jersey swap?" And he was like, "I think I'll keep this one."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's either his last game for the Packers or it's going to be, he's going to play for, or he's going to retire. One of the two things. I think this is pretty big that it's either going to be one of these two things, Tanner. He's going to retire or he is not going to play for the Green Bay Packers. And
I get it.
I lean more toward retiring, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think before he plays for anyone else, he would retire.
He could. So I want to talk about Derek Carr real quick, right?
Let's do it.
So Derek Carr is somebody that we got is, of course, they have to move him pretty quick. They got to move him before the middle of February or they get into some guarantees, right? They're not going to get into guarantees even if they have to release him, right? The Raiders are not going to be a part of paying him anything, right? So
I feel like they're going to release him before they can trade him. No one wants that contract.
Right. And let me tell you something the Raiders can do here. Now, there are two options.
Two options.
Yep. So the Raiders, he has a no trade clause, right? So that means that he kind of decides where he plays.
Yeah.
Right. And they might say, hey, we're going to trade you to so and so, right? And the Texans or another team that he don't want to play for, right? And or they might say that we're going to, we want to trade you to the Cardinals, or I'm just throwing it out there. Of course, he's not going to the Cardinals, right? But I'm one of those things is he has to sign off on that, right? But here's the other option: they could release him by the deadline and designate him for a June 1st release, which the team has so many of those they can do, right? And they can save $33 million in cap space.
That's a lot of money.
$33 million is pretty big. Some of the names that the Raiders are looking at, we're told, Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady is the big one. Jimmy Garoppolo is the other one. That's the two big names we keep hearing.
Yeah.
Yep. Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo. Right. Those are what we're looking at with that. So it'll be interesting. I want to just switch bases really quick. One of the names we really want to touch, a couple of the names we touched base on, I just slipped my mind. DeMeco Ryans. We're told that the Panthers is very intriguing to him.
The Panthers and DeMeco Ryan?
Yep, very intriguing. So what does that mean if DeMeco Ryans goes to the Panthers? Well, that means Jimmy Garoppolo is in play for the Panthers quarterback.
Well, if he's the head coach, if he does get a head coaching job there, yeah. I mean, the connection for sure.
Yeah, so that's going to mean a lot, right? Where a lot of these coaches fall. Like Robert Saleh for the Jets is he's going to go to that 49er line, right? He's going to possibly be looking at Jimmy Garoppolo. I think LaFleur kind of hurts that a little bit, him leaving, right? With the Jimmy Garoppolo. I do think that hurts that some. But like Woody Johnson said last night, that he is willing to pay for a good quarterback. So what does that mean, right? Well, there was some sparks last night on Twitter. Does that mean Lamar Jackson? Right?
Is
he willing to pay for the Jets? Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Does that mean that he will pay for Lamar Jackson? So a lot of people speculated that they might franchise Lamar and do a sign and trade. Right? And one of those things is, we've seen that the Jets almost landed Tyreek Hill, and they were willing to pay for him last year.
That's true. They were willing to pay for him, but if the Ravens ever did tag and trade Lamar Jackson, what would they ask in return for?
A lot.
I mean, like, obviously they need a quarterback. They'd want a quarterback. Zach Wilson's most likely in that package, but would the Ravens really want him?
No, I don't think they would want Zach Wilson. I think that they would have to possibly part ways with a young player and picks. Right.
Who do you see any glaring needs on that?
Nothing right now that I can put a base on, but I would imagine that they would want first round picks, number one. You know what I mean? Even before they would go with the player, right? One of the package deals, the Ravens need a wide receiver eventually. So, you might look at the young wide receiver that asked for a trade mid-season last year, Elijah Moore. Right? He could be somebody, but that's still early in developing. Like some of the rumors there, it's real early in developing. And Lamar seems like he wanted to end that speculation last night. Everybody was saying, "Hey, he's gone. See Lamar Jackson," but then he spoke up. He was like, "Listen, I want to be out there playing with my team. I'm just got a bad injury, right? Is the reason why." A lot of people speculate the reason he wasn't playing because, hey, you not gave me a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, but it's like I also don't feel like he would do that on purpose. So close to the playoffs, and it wouldn't make sense for him to purposely not be playing now. He could have been doing that all season long.
Right. Another one I want to just revert back to, and we talked about this weeks ago, is our man Peter Schrager at NFL Network and Fox Sports. Said that Ben Johnson was high on people's list. Well, he is, because now he's interviewed with the Panthers and the Texans. Ben Johnson, remember what he did with the Lions offense? Did major things.
They've been good, man.
Jared Goff. So that could be somebody to watch for the Texans, I believe, right? Yeah, because when they get a quarterback in the draft, they'll want somebody that can develop them, and they'll want somebody that can put a really good offense around them. So that's pretty big there, Tanner. Let's see if we got the Derek. So let's go back to Derek Carr just for a second. I know we're jumping a little bit, but who do you see as the best fit for Derek Carr?
Well, let me put up your tweet right here on the screen.
Okay.
You put out a predictions, the landing spots, Las Vegas Raiders quarterback Derek Carr. You have the Panthers, Commanders, Colts, Jets, Saints, Green Bay Packers, only if Aaron Rodgers moves on, Tampa Bay Bucks, possible quarterback swap there, which is always in play. Obviously, you got the McDaniels connection there with the Raiders and Brady, as well as Garoppolo. That could always be a potential, trade right there. To me, it's like someone who really is desperate right now. Who's desperate for a quarterback? That's going to be the Panthers, Jets. And to me, I guess, who's more desperate between the Commanders and Colts for a quarterback?
Right.
Those two teams really both need a quarterback.
Right. I think the Panthers and the Jets jump up to the top of the list. Now, I think the Panthers could change depending on who the head coach is.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Like, if it goes to be D'Amico Ryans, Jimmy Garoppolo trends to go, his numbers go way up, analytics wise, to be there in Carolina. Right. But when you're looking at that, if D'Amico Ryans is not the coach and they keep their current coach, Derek Carr, in my opinion, jumps astronomically to go there. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other one, the Jets, listen, let's be honest, they're probably not going to get Lamar Jackson, right? We all know that.
You think he's going to end up being extended?
Yeah, I think Ravens Lamar Jackson will be there. He loves the Ravens, and I think they'll eventually do the right thing by him and give him a contract.
Not to.
Right. I do think he'll end up there, in my opinion, for the Ravens. But Derek Carr, the Jets, will be like, I know New York will feast on this. They will. They'll feast on them. If they can't get it right, though, they gotta be. If they get Derek Carr, they gotta make sure that they get their offensive coordinator right. They gotta make sure that they hire the right offensive coordinator.
Yeah, because you don't want to repeat. And I know there's like speculation that LaFleur. Obviously, they moved on, and some people believe that they failed to develop him there. Zach Wilson, I mean.
Yeah.
Obviously,
bag. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see Derek Carr going to a team like the Jets, who possibly, they had a chance this year. They were just a quarterback away from the playoffs, to be honest. I mean, but they're talking about bringing back Mike White. You got a veteran there, Joe Flacco. I don't know his current contract.
Yeah, he'll be gone, I'd say.
You think so?
Yeah. I think they'll bring in Mike White. They'll have Zach Wilson because they said they wouldn't go trade him, and then I think they'll have their big quarterback in the offseason. They'll sign.
I don't see Derek Carr going to the Jets. I'd see the Colts or Commanders being more likely. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, Derek Carr will have
Um,
to sign off on that. Remember, guys, on that.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yep.
good point. He has that
Yep.
no trade clause, so he basically gets to choose where he's traded to.
Right.
He has
Hmm.
to approve the trade.
Right, and one of the big ones that you think about that will come in play as well is when you think about the Bucks. And likely they're losing Tom Brady. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah,
Like, Mike Florio even reported that Tom Brady and the Dolphins are somebody that he wouldn't remove off the table. Right.
yeah,
So the rumors are flying around. You have the Dolphins and the big rumors for Tom Brady and the Raiders. Right.
yeah.
So I think when you're looking at that, the Bucks could be a spot for Derek Carr. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I think that could be a spot for him. I don't like I don't think Tom Brady's returning, guys. I just don't. I don't
No,
see
I,
him
I
doing
mean, I think Tom Brady will play another season, but
it. Yeah,
not with the Bucks.
I
Um,
agree.
I think he saw that. I think that may, like why he retired and then unretired. He saw the downfall. He saw after Bruce Arians stepped down or stepped up, whatever his position now is with the Buccaneers. Like he saw this coming, where it's like, God, I know we're not going to be this good, but he toughed it out, and he's still toughing it out. And what they're playing in a wild card though, so they have a chance.
Yeah, think
Still.
of it like this too. Like I know the Bucks have good wide receivers. Don't get me wrong. Bucks
Mhm.
has got really good wide receivers, but the Dolphins do too, right? They
They
got
really do.
Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle.
You
So
still have Gesicki there right now, at least.
yeah, he won't be there. I don't think after this year.
Probably
Uh,
not.
nope. And I want to, but then you look at the Raiders. He would
Yeah.
have Devontae Adams. He knows the head coach, right? What if what if
Adams,
they
Renfro, Waller.
yeah, what if they said, "Hey, let's go get DHop."
There's no way.
Yeah, just imagine that though. Put
But hey, the
DeAndre
Tom Brady
Hopkins together and
influence can
Devontae
do a lot.
Adams.
That Tom Brady influence, he can recruit anybody.
Yeah. And DeAndre Hopkins will be very open, I'm sure, to going to a team that had Devontae Adams, Tom Brady, and Darren
Yeah,
Waller.
that's true.
Right. But I think honestly, I think DeAndre will want to be a number one. You
Oh,
know
for
what I mean?
sure.
Somewhere. Yeah, I think he'll go somewhere that he can be a number one. And that I think he'll want to he don't have a choice where he goes. It's not like Derek Carr. He don't have a choice. If he gets traded, he'll just have to go and play where he goes.
Does
Right.
he not have a no trade clause?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All
So
right.
he'll have to go wherever they trade him, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people speculated that DHop, if Lamar signs back, the Ravens are a good match for him.
Yeah, I mean, he would be a true wide receiver one there. They need the help, but they got to get rid of was it Greg Roman as the offensive coordinator? Get rid of him, man.
Yeah, Greg Roman. A lot of people think they should get rid of him for sure. There are a lot of moving pieces right now, like with offensive coordinators, like
For
the
sure.
Jets. Talking about that real quick, Mike
Yeah.
LaFleur. They said they were split. Now, here's why I think they were split. Robert Saleh just a few days ago said, he talked about the Kyle Shanahan when he was in San Francisco, like them sticking with somebody and them turning things around, right? And now he was talking about I'm sticking with Mike LaFleur. Then a few days later, he's gone. I think that they took the call out of his hands. Robert Saleh. I think the front office said, we don't want an offensive coordinator. When you do that, that means your coach, Robert Saleh, they love him, man. They love him there, right? But one of the things is when you start having that happen, you start getting on a little shaky ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Robert Sala's going to have to go get a really offensive coordinator. Will he be the one picking the offensive coordinator, or will somebody else? That'd be a good question there.
This is all good, man. All great topics, great conversations. There's just a lot, like you said, a lot of moving pieces at this stage in the season, and the off season. We're gonna have a lot of chaos, and then it'll settle down for a bit. But is there anything you want to touch up on as we approach our half-hour mark?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about some NFL draft rumors, right? So I know we ain't got to talk about those too lot. So one of the big things that happened, I honestly think that had a lot to do with Texans Lovie Smith getting fired, right? Is them going for 2, right, and winning the game and losing the number 1 pick. I think Lovie Smith had a chance to come back there if that didn't happen, right? I mean, he went for 2 and lost the number 1 pick.
You blame him for that, though? I mean, as a coach, you want to win.
You want to win, right? I get that. I want to win, but I totally get that why he wanted to win. I want him to win too. I mean, I get why he did it. He's a winner, you know what I mean? But I think the way the people above him thought.
Oh, for sure.
They're like
smack in the face. Like,
yeah,
dude,
they're like,
last game and you try to win. We had the first overall pick right in our pocket.
We had the first overall pick for 16 weeks. Right. And then we lost it in the last week. Right.
We had Bryce Young.
Yeah, that's it. Right. It was speculated they was picking the Alabama quarterback going into the last week, right?
Yeah.
Everybody said they're picking the Alabama quarterback, like he's the number 1 guy on their board. So now what that does is shakes up things, right? Yeah. Because that means that they would have to trade with the Bears to get the pick that they lost by going for 2, right? If they wanted to pick him, probably. Because they're a team in that top 5 now that the Colts that could trade up to the Bears to get that number 1 spot. Right? So that is something to watch. I really believe that. I think that the Bears would, like the Bears and the Colts, when you look at that, I think that's a good trade match in the draft.
Me too.
Yeah, a real good trade match.
Because imagine if Bears first overall pick, they got Justin Fields, who they're still positive on. You could draft someone first overall who you really like as well, and maybe perhaps DeAndre Hopkins he knows he could be a wide receiver 1 there. That could really turn things around.
They got the most cap room of any team, right?
That's true. Good points.
One of the biggest things, Tanner, I want to think about. I just want to throw this out there. This is I don't know if it could happen, right? I don't know if it could happen, but I was looking at the contract situations with the Colts a couple of days ago. One of the best players for the Colts, who they traded for the 49ers, was DeForest Buckner. Okay?
Yep.
If they trade him, I'm not saying they will, but if they trade him, he has 0 dead money that they'd owe him. Right? There was 0 dead money there. So here's the thing. And that could, one of the things, if the Colts want to kind of blow it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And get rid of big contracts. Think about this. The Bears head coach was the Colts defensive coordinator. So
yes,
what if they shipped DeForest Buckner and gave him some picks, right? Gave him some picks, the coach to trade up for that number 1 spot.
Man, that would that'd have to take a lot, though. That'd be a big offer.
Right. Bears can pay it. Like, Bears are a team to watch that can trade for the big names like DeAndre Hopkins, DeForest Buckner, people like that. They can trade because they can take on the money.
Yeah, you got a good point.
So that's something.
This is why they call you NFL Rumors, dude. You make these connections that other people don't make, and you think about all these possibilities. Some of them you're like, I don't know, but like it's still possible.
Yeah,
it is. That's a good point, dude.
Yeah, and let me tell you a bad coaching. Like, I want to talk about Brian Flores just real quick before we end, right?
All right.
So Brian Flores is, by the way, I heard last night that he's also interviewing for the Cardinals head coaching job.
Brian Flores is?
Yep, he's interviewing for the Cardinals head coaching job. I heard that last night. And but let me tell you something. If I think that's a wild card for sure. because I think that they want Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Right. The Cardinals, Brian Flores, though, he's got a good track record, pretty good track record of things. And one of the things I want to say about that is if I was the Browns, I would not hire him. If I was their head coach, I would not hire Brian Flores as defensive coordinator. Now, why am I saying that? Because Brian Flores, a good defensive coordinator, great defensive coordinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to lose your job, if you start struggling, you hire Brian Flores, because if the Browns, something happens and they start losing games, they're going to look around and be like, hey, let's shake things up here. We got Brian Flores as DC. You know what I mean? And you're sitting there as the head coach and be like, I think you got to be smart like that when you hire somebody when you're a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want a good DC, but I don't want nobody to take my job either. You know what I mean?
You think that he could possibly take over someone's position as head coach?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think he would, like if they struggled, like the Bears struggled, or the Browns struggled, and he's sitting there on their staff. Like if the Browns,
we got a great defensive coordinator, a previous head coach.
Yeah,
let's get rid of this Stefanski guy and let's put in.
Let me tell you something about Brian Flores before we kind of finish up, to give him a good resume from NFL Rumors. So the Dolphins fired Brian Flores. After Brian Flores, they fixed their offensive line. They traded for Tyreek Hill. They traded for Bradley Chubb. They added all kinds of free agents to help the team. Okay?
Yeah.
And ended up with the same record that Brian Flores had for the Dolphins this year. So he took less and did more with it. Cardinals, who knows? Yeah. Who knows what they do? Who knows what they do, right? But you never know, man. You never
Cardinals
know.
Have more potential, I think, with Sean Payton.
I do too. Sean Payton's my pick for the Cardinals early. That can change. I think the Chargers are the definite wild card in this.
Man, I just see him with the Chargers, bro. I see him wearing one of those Chargers visors.
Yep, me too.
I just see it.
He wants to be in LA too. This is another big thing. Like when the Broncos are interviewing him Tuesday, Tanner. Guess where it's at? LA.
Really?
Yeah, he's not going to Denver. I
don't think so.
He's not going to. He ain't even going there for the interview, man.
So the interview is in LA?
Yes, the interview's in LA Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah, so think about it. The guy wants to be in LA, right? He wants to be on the West Coast. Who are the teams in the West Coast? You got the Arizona Cardinals, the LA Rams, and the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
That's it. There's the three teams for Sean Payton. Right there, in my opinion.
HP Forever says Cardinals are forever a meh team. Hawks fan.
They might be.
You never know.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, like, getting rid of DHop and adding Sean Payton, I don't know that would be smart. Maybe Sean Payton gets the job for the Cardinals if he goes there and says, hey, I don't want to get rid of DHop.
Yeah, that's one factor for sure. Like, he's gonna want DHop there if he takes a head coaching job, with the drama going on with DHop and that he's basically out the window.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it. I don't think Kyler Murray is enough to keep him there. Not when Justin Herbert's there. And
they say he's getting an all-star staff, man. Like Vic Fangio, there are rumors around other big names that he's got on his staff, but man, I think that's a really hard sell right now when the Chargers sitting there looking like we could add Sean Payton and pretty much another head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio.
Yeah. He's going to come in and he's going to want to take over and win a Super Bowl. Like that just seems ideal for Sean Payton. He's not going to want to go to a team that's possibly rebuilding an offense. He's a smart guy, and he's thinking this through. I think he knows what he wants to do.
I think his eyes just light up with the the emoji with the hearts. When he sees Justin Herbert.
I think so too.
Yeah, and he probably thinks, "Wow, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert." Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler.
Yeah, they already run my offense.
Their tight end or their defense is already just stud, man. They can play better. I think they struggle defensively more than they should, but on paper, that team is set.
Do you know who? You remember a few years ago when Mac was unstoppable?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm serious. Like he could snap the ball and almost take it from the quarterback's hands a few years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And you know who his coach was at the time?
Who's that?
Vic Fangio.
Good point.
Yeah. So you know what? Like, man, this sounds too good. The Chargers are wild, man.
I like that.
Chargers are pretty crazy if they don't go and get Sean Payton in my book.
I like that. All right, guys. I think we talked about a lot today, and we covered a lot. There's a lot of rumors to think about, and like we said, a lot of moving pieces. So we just ask that if you guys stayed and stuck through the podcast, you just hit that subscribe button, hit follow, whatever you're listening on. We appreciate you very, very much. Follow me on Twitter at Tanner Pfeiffer NFL, and go follow NFL Rumors at NFLRums. It's NFLRums. Or you can just search NFL Rumors. Guess whose account is the first to pop up on any search? Google search NFL Rumors. You're going to see this guy. What he's doing over there is insane. So, guys, thank you so much. NFL Rumors, you got anything to say as we head out?
No, I just want to say we appreciate everybody. We appreciate all the great followers. This is the time you want to come, and this is the time. I mean, you want to be with us all year for sure, because we got all your rumors and news. But this is the time that you want to come, turn your notifications on, because we're going to have a lot of things that come out early. We're going to have a lot of fits. We're going to have a lot of looks at who's going to do that, and who's going to where. You want to make sure that you are following NFL Rumors to have that. I mean, every off season we trim with one of the biggest accounts out there. Of getting your news out for all the signings and the rumors. Last year we had over an 80% rate of predictions that were correct. So definitely come see us.
Yep, sounds good, guys. Thank you once again, and we'll see you next week. We got a lot of exciting things coming, and appreciate you all very, very much. We're going to play that outro, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Take care. Later, NFL Rumors.